Joining us now, Congressman Byron Donalds from House Oversight. Congressman, it's great to see you again.
It's good to see you. Thanks for having me back.
So we've got President Biden. He's been going after GOP voters ahead of the midterms. D.C. critics say he's the one dividing the nation. But now, in that 60 Minutes interview, Congressman, he's saying it's the D.C. culture that's about personal attacks. So he's blaming Washington for being all about personal attacks. How do you see it?
Oh, please. Listen, Joe Biden's been in D.C. for longer than I've been alive. I think the count now is 49 years. America, I'm only 43 years old. He is a part of D.C. culture. He's not Lunch Bucket Joe or Delaware Joe or Scranton Joe or whatever he tries to portray himself as. He is one of the meanest politicians in D.C. He ran on being a unifying president. That's what he talked about when he gave his inaugural. But since that time, he has not wanted any input from Republicans. He has derided Republicans. The other week ago in Philadelphia, he's labeling everybody MAGA Republicans. That backfired. He is a part of the D.C. culture. Why? Because he does not deal well with debate. He does not deal well with disagreement. He wants it his way or the highway. That's part of the problem of what we have here in Washington, D.C.
So, Congressman, let's listen to how President Biden, to your point, has taken every opportunity to personally attack Republican voters. Watch this.
What we do today, think about it. It's all personal attacks. It's about motive. It's not about I disagree on the subject matter. And secondly, I think that it's fair to say that we've not had a president like the last president who has made all of it so personal.
Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans represent an extremism. The extreme set of MAGA Republicans has chosen to go backwards, full of anger, violence, hate, and division. The MAGA Republicans don't just threaten our personal rights and economic security. They're a threat to our very democracy.
So MAGA Republicans are a threat to their democracy. What do you think of that soundbite montage?
That's all politics. That's all stuff that they focus grouped in polls and in stuff like that, and they think it actually worked. But I remember a Joe Biden who specifically said to black people that if they were not voting for him, that they weren't black. I found that to be outrageous. But those are the words of Joe Biden when he was running for the highest office in the land. Listen, I know we talk about the president. He's a terrible president. We all know that. But we have to get back to America based upon tolerance, based upon actual merit and equality. We can do all three at the same time. And that starts here in Capitol Hill with our rhetoric. What do MAGA Republicans and Republicans in general want? We want to follow the Constitution. We want sound money and stable prices. We actually want a secure border. We want safe streets. We want children to have the best education outcomes possible and the best opportunity to find that education. And last but not least, we want people to respect everybody else's points of view, even if you disagree. We want the debate. That's what Republicans want.
So we've got a 40-year high in inflation, groceries the highest since 1979, a collapsed border, skyrocketing crime, and we also have Harvard-Harris. New poll, 54% believe it's, quote, a gross exaggeration to say MAGA voters are a threat to the nation. But if you watch MSNBC, that's all they talk about. So there's this toxicity, this poison that's pouring into the national conversation. By the way, it has to be stated that even the Drudge Report, it's a news aggregator, has dozens of websites on it. ABC, CBS, even McClatchy, of course, McClatchy and Reuters. It even has Russia's Pravda on it. Guess which the only network is not on the Drudge Report? It's MSNBC. So when you see how the poison that's coming in out of the Biden White House into the nation's bloodstream, into the national conversation, what concerns you most?
What concerns me most is that we have news outlets that aren't even giving a fair perspective. What do I mean by that? Listen, I've been on your show many times. I'm very thankful for that opportunity. But I would love to do TV on MSNBC or CNN. In my office, we ask all the time. And yes, Booker's over there. We ask all the time. They refuse to let us on. We need to be having these healthy debates. We need the civil discourse in America. I am quite sure many Americans wish that there was a civil discourse with COVID-19. But if we get back to that, we will have the more perfect union that so many Americans truly want.
Congressman Donalds, come back. Love having you on. It's good to see you.